I started with the lowest Google Workspace's plan, and now I actually upgraded to the business standard. Should I talk about my favorite feature though of Google Workspace? Because I have a favorite. Welcome back to
Tokimeki.
podcast. So I'm Leah,
And I'm Elisha.
and I own my business. It's a small business. I do social media marketing for businesses. And one question that I've been asked is how to manage and build your business online in terms of managing onboarding, collaboration, um, working with clients, and having that in the online space, even if your business is physical, like even if you have a brick and mortar store. And there is I guess you could call it a suite of tools or a workspace that I use that I think is super helpful for beginners who are starting their small business. And I'd like to talk about that today. And I'm joined by Elisha.
Mhm.
You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah.
You people?
Yeah. So I work at a consulting company and I work heavily in the technology space. So things like software tools. I develop those software tools, but I also use and leverage those tools so that I can do more efficient work, increase productivity, and of course, collaborate with my own teammates.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the tool is maybe designed for small businesses, that could still apply to what we do day to day. Because I think the reality is, even in the big companies, a lot of small teams end up needing their own little tool
Mm-hmm.
and not always using like enterprise grade. That's like something everyone has to use in a big company, but they might just sign up for like MailChimp because they want to start newsletter campaign. That's only for that little small team to start. So
Yeah.
it might still help for people working in the big companies to know what Leah has been using to do some of the businesses.
So even small teams within a big company have their own tools to work with each other, or maybe
Yeah.
work with the clients of the company that they have their
Yeah.
projects
Yeah.
in. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like the design team probably has its own suite of
Yep.
tools compared to the sales team, right?
Yep.
So when you have your own small business, you're doing most of everything yourself. And in the beginning, you don't have a lot of money, right? And so I feel like a lot of small business owners are looking for tools or a suite of tools or a platform where they can essentially do account management. They can manage the documents that they have with clients, manage resources, all their information, and all that. I feel like in one place as much as possible. Or if they have to have separate places for it, there has to be a good reason for it and it has to be easy for them to access and use. Um, so there's not a lot of revenue, right? That's one thing coming in, and you want something quick, easy. You don't want to do a huge training and pay a huge amount for it, right? I started off using Google Workspaces for my business. So that's what I want to talk about today because I started off with the lowest price plan 2 years ago now, I think, when I started my business, I think, or 3 years ago. And I started off my business with a friend who was my very first client. They started their own business, and so like I needed some way to manage the client relationship and our assets together and how we work together. So I started with the lowest Google Workspace's plan, and now I actually upgraded to the business standard. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I started, how it was useful, how it wasn't useful, and then why I decided to upgrade, because I did eventually upgrade. And even the upgrade, I feel like, isn't that expensive for a small business.
And I think what's interesting to know is that Google Workspace has changed over time.
Yeah.
Actually, like my consulting company that I work for, that got started, I think 17 years ago, we started with the Google
Hmm.
because Microsoft was for like enterprise companies and Google was more friendly.
To
And
small
to
businesses.
small businesses, right? Yeah, it's much simpler, easier. Often, I think now the prices are competitive across, but like it used to be like I think cheaper to get in. But some tools like Google Meet or Google Hangout, like they kind of rebranded. Like some things used to be free and like, oh, never mind, we changed it. And like now you have to be on this plan. So I know there are a lot of changes that also happen ever since you began your business that
Mhm.
some things are like now included versus like now no longer included. So I kind of want to hear some of the evolution of the tools and the changes in plan that you may have experienced as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did I even start off using Google Workspaces? I feel like I've used Google products, if you call products, I guess they're online products for a really long time. Like I used Gmail forever. I've had my Gmail account, my personal one, forever. It was always super easy to use. And I wanted to get like a business specific email, which is really important to have so you look professional. And Google allows you to have your own kind of branded email for like your business. And so I think that's one piece. Like I wanted to have a business email. And I wanted to make it so that at least with my business social media marketing, leads will share information with me about their businesses, right? And the easiest way I found is to share that through Google Docs, oftentimes. So it made sense that I would have a Gmail and then they could share their document through Google Docs with everything already being, in Google already, Google Docs and then Gmail. So I think the connection between the different tools made that a lot easier. And I already use so there are different features included in the Google suite, right? So Gmail, we have Google Docs, and then when I started tracking my income, expenses, and everything for my business, I use Excel sheets. Google Excel, I think Google
Google
Sheets.
Sheet.
Yeah, Google Sheets. Yeah. So that's something that I use already. And for anything numerical that I need to track, then I just use Google Sheets, right? So um it's nice that it's already all in one place. And then that's another thing, right? Google Drive. So they're sharing their Google Doc with me. It ends up in Google Drive. I can easily organize any other assets they send, like photos or videos. Or if I go out and do a photo shoot, I can drop all the photos or videos in Google Drive, and share that with them. And usually they don't have their own preferred. What I found is a lot of clients, unless they're very particular, and I have had particular clients that were like, well, actually, can we just share photos through Adobe because they use Adobe? But that's a very particular type of customer
Mm.
client that they they're very particular about visual assets because they're probably they're someone that knows about like that world, but most clients are like managing their own business, not too much into the social media creative. So they leave it up to me to manage that for them, right? And so since I'm already in the Google ecosystem, it's easy to share uh, a drive of photos and videos with me through that connected in Gmail.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have already the Google accounts themselves, right? So like
Mhm.
you don't need to create like yet another account. It's already tied to Gmail the most people I would assume use. And even if you use Microsoft Stack, you are able to create Google account using Microsoft issued email addresses. So like there is really uh, not much of a friction for your
Mhm.
customers to adopt. They probably already use Drive and Sheets and Docs in the past through the school projects or whatever. And also used to be like when I used Dropbox when that was the choice for like early years, right? Like in our early years, 10, 20 years ago, Dropbox was the standard. And the problem was that like when you upload a file, you it takes up the space for both of your drive or something, and you have to pay to upgrade in order for
Yeah.
you to be able to upload a document. And I think systems like Google Drive, it's like only you have to worry about storage, and the client doesn't have to worry about signing up to any paid plan or anything like
Right.
that.
That's another friction to working together, right? If they have
Yeah.
to sign up for yet another tool
Yeah.
that they're not sure they're going to use. Another feature, and then this actually starts getting into why I started. Well, I was on the lowest paying plan, and then I upgraded Google Workspace, but I also use Google Meet often.
Mm.
It's debatable whether Google Meet is better than Zoom. I do still use Zoom for some clients. They already have Zoom, so they want to meet through Zoom. I currently don't pay for Zoom because I have Google Meet, and for the most part, it's been good enough in terms of clients just scheduling discovery calls or regular meetings with clients. I would have to say, and this is probably a good another episode too, like how to do meetings with clients. But um, if the client is outside and doesn't have reliable Wi-Fi, I think Zoom still beats Google Meet. I find that Zoom meetings I can hear better, like audio wise, it doesn't like cut in and out as often. But for the most part, it does a trick because usually, you're in a room talking. And initially, I started paying too for Google Workspaces because you can do Google Meet with the free one, but it's only up to 40 minutes or something. I think Zoom is similar too. Like it cuts you off at like kind of a weird time. Like I don't know how many of you are having meetings that are less than 40 minutes with a business client. So I'm like, okay, well, definitely need to pay. So then, it could do unlimited length meetings. And then I started teaching online as part of my business to teaching businesses how to do video marketing, video social media marketing. And what I wanted to do as part of that was you can already meet, you can already have multiple people enter a meeting and participate in a meeting with the lower plan, but to be able to record the meeting, which I really wanted to record the meetings for future reference, marketing, maybe reusing in the future, you need to actually upgrade to the the current one that I use, the business standard. So, I wanted to be able to record meetings, so I was like, "Okay, that's an important, like, business need for me, so I'll upgrade it." And looking at the prices now, these prices will change, so I don't really want to get into pricing because 'cause it'll change by the time this probably change, maybe by the time this is uploaded, if you're watching in the future. Business standard is 2 times more than the entry level plan.
But the difference in the absolute dollars, let's just look at the absolute dollars just for reference.
Mhm.
So $7 for the starter plan,
Yeah.
$14 for the sorry, the business standard
Yep.
is the why do both say business standard actually?
This
Oh,
is business
starter,
starter.
starter,
That's
and
the one
this
I started
that's a
with.
$7 and the standard is 14. It's like not that much, even though it's twice. Like if you want to operate a serious business, you get so much value in one. And if you were to try to get like a Zoom Pro, then it's not like a $7 more. It's probably like a way more to
Yes.
unlock that, right?
So then
So
you'd have to get another tool where like
yeah,
then you'd have to sign up for another meeting tool with clients and then think about is that really necessary? Like maybe you can't justify it with the amount that you're making right now. And if you can, great. But if not, I think a lot of people starting off
yeah.
can't
I did notice
easily. Yeah.
that our clients are not even using Zoom anymore.
Oh, what are they using?
They are using Microsoft
Oh,
Team,
Teams.
right? So
Huh.
I think I've seen less and less Zoom usage because while Zoom might be a great, better tool than Google Meet and Microsoft Teams, when it's already built into your company tool set, there's just so much friction to adopt another tool.
That's
Yeah.
my thinking, even with my small business, right? Like, if I already get a meeting feature, Google Meet within Google Workspace that I already pay for, then why am I going to sign up for Zoom, yet
Mm.
another, which only specializes in
Yeah.
meetings,
Yeah.
right? Just to conduct meetings that maybe have a slightly better like audio quality, or just in case someone's in the car and they can't hear me, like
Yeah.
weighing the pros and cons there. Yeah.
Another point that I wanted to add, and this is actually something that's more relevant now than before. the AI features that is now available to do AI note taking and AI
Mm-hmm.
summary. And the fact that when I use that with the Google Meet, it comes with the Google Gemini because Google built the Google Gemini, right? It comes with that now. So any insight you get from the meeting, there's like a strong like tie with the Gemini summarizing your AI, and
Mm-hmm.
everything gets stored in your ecosystem, right?
Oh, right,
Right.
right.
The video and the summary is in one tool. I'm sure Zoom would have something similar anyway, but just not having to think about those additional things that you now just get free automatically included in one tool
Mm-hmm.
just makes it even more of an argument for, especially like right now, like everyone has to be very efficient with their spending.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be like really watching out and not cutting out unnecessary subscription fees,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And if something does something maybe like 80% of the way, like good enough, you really you really have to justify. I think like spending
Mm.
outside of that, is there a business justification that you're gonna make that money back and more
Mm.
for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this Google Gemini thing used to cost more.
Mhm.
And last year, I asked my IT admin, "Hey, can I get access to the Gemini AI tools?" And they're like, "Yeah, maybe like we can let you use it, but like we don't want other people to use it because that means we have to upgrade the plan for
Oh, yep.
everyone." But
Mhm.
since then, Google just recently made it included in the business plan we're on. So everyone gets that without having to pay more for it.
Mhm.
And I suspect this happened because Google wants to claim that they have so many users using
Mhm.
their AI tools instead of hiding it behind like additional paywall.
Mhm.
So Google is also getting a little more desperate in trying to keep the users into their ecosystem.
Oh, like,
S-
yeah, not letting them go
Yeah,
out
letting
for
them
things.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another benefit where like
Mhm.
you'll get more and more stuff for free
Yeah.
um, by staying inside the Google ecosystem. So
Mhm.
I think it's becoming like even more sweet deal
Yeah.
to be on that. Yeah.
Because my business is so young, I'm also experimenting with so many different like offers and services. Like I start up offers quickly or I have like a short run promotion going on. And so I'm not trying to create like the ultimate graphic or like the ultimate like looking PowerPoint,
Mm.
or I'm really just trying to get the information out there, relay it in an attractive way, but like to the audience that I want to see if that's something that jives with them, if they want to get in on that offer and want to get that out as quickly as possible, right? So I think like Google's features makes it easy so that you can put something out there as quickly as possible and people trust it too, right? So something I also do often within the Google Workspaces is I use forms. So like forms as in I create, hey, this is a wait list for like a class, or I also use it for onboarding for clients. So when I onboard a new client, I ask them a set of questions about their businesses, like what their do they have any current visual assets? Like tell me about your business. And I ask all of that through Google Forms. And there are other tools and apps that you can do that, but why use them if I can just use Google Forms
Mm.
to do that, right?
I wanted to add that too because in my company we also explored tools like what's the form like there's like a
Typeform?
Typeform, yeah,
Yeah.
Typeform. There's like a Jot
Yeah.
form, and there are other forms that I would say technically it looks way more polished and
Yeah.
professional, but we found few problems when we use Jot form, Typeform. One, if you want your colleagues to be able to see the result, which is often the case, like you don't want one person owning a form and the result. You need to share output with the team because the
Mhm.
team members, like they might come and go from one department to another,
Mhm.
or that they will leave the company, or a new person will join the company, or like I need to take over the work because the person got busy. I need to be able to access same results. But guess what? Because it's in some another third party system, you have to like get invited to be able to see the results. And sometimes they'll charge more per seat.
Oh, yes.
And also the free version usually has a limited number of like a monthly form submission that you can take,
Mhm, mhm.
which is not
Yeah.
great. And you're forced to now pay for. And maybe in some cases it makes sense, but like
I feel like
then
for a lot of cases, and honestly,
yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And also the problem is emails with the result notification.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't get it because there is a thing about like, email providers trying to be like filtering out for the spam. Things
Yeah.
don't get
Junk.
delivered, yeah,
Yeah.
junk. And sometimes it just doesn't work. And I have to always like figure out workarounds.
That's
Like,
a good point because Google
yeah.
Forms is trusted for the most part, right?
Well, if you use Google Workspace for your email inbox,
Yeah.
and when you use Google Form,
Mhm.
the email will be delivered 100% because it's between
Oh,
Google,
that's
right?
really good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's
Yeah.
that's a point, yeah, too, right? That it's just automatically trusted. Like
Yep.
you don't have to deal with is my email not going to be
Yep.
delivered or not? Like, cause
I had that problem
yeah.
for my personal site. I put the lead capture with the Formless AI, which is by
Oh
Typeform.
yeah, that's another really nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess nobody like is contacting me. But then I logged into the site and I found like 10 messages from like last year. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that there was a mission, but I was just not getting the email notification
Oh,
delivered
that's a huge
to my
problem,
inbox. Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
So while you might want to be excited, and like, no, we're gonna look professional, we're gonna be branded, like you might want to start out with like more reliability
Yeah, that's a
within.
good point. Like
Yeah.
a guaranteed,
Yeah.
like, yes, like either I need to set up this form as quickly as possible to get off the
Mhm.
ground running, which speed is necessary to when you're starting off your business, right? Like, am I going to learn a brand new tool just so I can create an onboarding form, or am I just going to make an onboarding form with Google Forms because
Mhm.
I know how to use it? It's
Yep.
like simple, right? And I notice a lot of even like nonprofit organizations use Google Forms to do their intake for applications because I'm an artist and I did a lot of art markets in the community. Like I would say like almost 100% of them use Google
Mhm.
Forms to
Mhm.
for signups, right? So that tells you too, just like it's free, right? For the most part, I think you can unlimited. You can create unlimited like forms,
Mhm. Yep.
easy to use, right? And if you're just starting off, why need to use something so complicated? Um, and yeah, I use Google Slides too to do my presentations to leads, potential leads for my business. I would say though, for more polished graphics, if I want to make it branded, more professional, I do use Canva though. So I'll get into that in a future uh, podcast. Canva is super useful, but yes, I would definitely say for more marketing branded materials, I use Canva like external facing. But even like for presentations to leads who are already like in who are kind of getting it, they're going down the sales funnel. Like I still use the slides because it's
Mhm.
easier.
Mhm.
Like because I'll just can just create it in there, right? And for me, it's more important to be able to quickly act on um presenting to the lead, like doing the business proposal, versus like trying to make a branded, super nice, like marketing, you know, slide PowerPoint where, that's not going to be like the best use of my
Mhm.
time, yeah,
Mhm.
for the business.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Google Slides just makes it also easy with the collaborative editing in
Yeah.
my company, right? Because there will be multiple people looking at and edit slides together, and we would often leave comments on the slide, like, "Hey,
Mhm.
team, what do you think about this slide?" I think for that, like for businesses, I think it's a really good default. And Canva, I agree, it is easier to design. It's like you're using like a Figma or design tools, and you can easily bring in like a nice stock images, stock graphics,
Yeah.
stock animation. So I agree that for some important, unique documents, something like Canva would be better. But for every other business needs, Google Slides does a pretty good job.
It's pretty
Yeah.
intuitive. Like if like I feel like most of us who have been on the internet have used Microsoft PowerPoint, you'll know how to use Google
Yep.
Slides.
Yep.
So it makes it easier. Should I talk about my favorite feature though of Google Workspace? Because I have a favorite. One of the reasons why I upgraded, and I noticed actually recently it was only part of this upgraded
Oh, interesting.
feature.
Let's
Yeah.
see. I use Sheets. I use Doc. I use Meet,
Mhm.
but it's something else, right?
Yeah.
That ooh, that
It's a new feature.
okay. I
Yeah.
may or may not know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is signature feature.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually never used the signature feature
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
think we use DocuSign or
Mhm.
something else in
I
our
used to
company.
use DocuSign too. That was actually one of my essential business tools for my business because you need to sign contracts,
Mm.
with your clients. That is definitely one of the most important things to getting them onboarded right and then getting and building your business. And I would pay for it monthly in the beginning, but then I not you're not signing contracts all the time. So then I would not subscribe for a while and then subscribe if, I had like an actual paying client coming in. But when I upgraded Google Workspace, something I noticed, and I actually just noticed this by accident when I was in Google Docs, that I could essentially enter a field or create a field to request a signature by sending the document. Google makes it into a PDF when you send it. It makes it into a PDF and you can send it to any email requesting them to sign. So if it's a lead, they can sign and then could become a client.
So you're using Google Doc to draft a document. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I'm using Google Docs for my contracts and statement of work. That's where I draft it for the clients. And then once it's finalized, you can on the right side, actually I'll input this into an example. You can um in Google Docs, let me open up like an example one. You can go up to insert and then e-signature fields. And then on the right, there's going to be a right bar that comes up, and then you can do insert fields. So you can manage, I think you can add 10 signers like who need to sign the document. And then there's fillable fields, and that's what you end up adding to the document. So anywhere you put your cursor, so if I put like my cursor in name, then you can put in a name if you want to fill it in. But if you go to like signature, you can click on signature and it'll populate where you put your cursor. So this is super useful because that means it's one less tool. I don't have to subscribe for another signature tool just to get a contract signed. Before, I would have to download the Google Doc, upload it to a signature, as a tool to sign documents, right? Send it to the client and then the potential client, and then sometimes they would ask for changes to it and I'd have to change, but then re-upload it. And then I would use one of the free
Mm.
spots or one of the free, they give you like 5 free like signatures, right? But then I would end up using one because that was one of their stipulations. If you needed to change a document and re-upload it, then you're using a credit, in a way, I guess maybe it's more of a credit system. And so it would get kind of frustrating because I'd be like, "Oh, I hope they don't want any changes because I'm gonna lose a credit, and then maybe I have to, like, pay for more, like, credits," right? But now I just do it all within Google. It's, like, so many steps that have been taken away that I don't have to deal with anymore because I can just do it within Google Docs, within Google
Mm.
Workspace. And you can also do initials. You can also make a text field for whatever you want. It's actually very flexible. Not very pretty. Like you can't really you can't change you can't select the signature, style, which you can do with like DocuSign, for example. But it gets the job done, which again is the most important thing when you're just starting off.
Got it. Huh. So it saves you in the steps because you don't have to save it and download it and then upload, download and upload. And probably each time you do that, you have to specify where the signer is going to sign on the document too, right? I know that's sometimes a problem with a document sign or other system where after the fact that you upload the document, you have to say, here is where people sign.
Mhm.
Then when you change that draft, you have to redo the setting of like, here I want people to sign, where that will be saved as part of the Google Doc. And you don't have to worry about like the credit stuff, which is like, it's like the last thing you want to worry about as a business owner. when you just want to get things going and
Yeah.
not feel like, oh, I want to do the right thing, but I also don't want to do the right thing because it's going to cost me money.
Yeah, or it's like, yeah, can you just accept this document so I don't have to or change it again? But then technically, like, it was supposed to be an updated. I don't know. There could be, who knows, maybe legal ramifications down the line. But I think the fact that in Google Workspace you can just edit it and just resend it, not worry about that, just makes it easier. And you can still track the process too, which is really nice. As in, send it to them. It'll tell you when they sign it. It'll send you a notification like the e-signature has been like completed on this, and then you can actually see the PDF where you signed or the signers have signed, and you can have like that completed document too. So
Got it. How much money you are saving by not using
DocuSign,
DocuSign? Yeah,
DocuSign is like $15, so I'm
$15
saving
a month.
$50 a month. And Google Workspace, as we are speaking
Yeah,
right now, I think I pay like there's an exact amount I pay for it. I pay 13.24.
13.24. Yeah,
Yes.
so it's
So,
cheaper than
like,
the DocuSign
yeah.
itself. Yeah,
Yep. That's all I'm like, I'm very happy that Google makes these updates that people actually want. Like, cause I was like, I never voiced that I wanted, but this is always a pain point for me. So most likely to other people too, because they added it.
yeah. As a business owner, you want to save as much overhead cost
Hmm.
you want, right? Because it's gonna add up. It can quickly add up to like, well, I'm spending like $150 every month on just the subscriptions alone, on top of the fees that I have to pay or the marketing costs that I have to spend.
Hmm.
When in a good economy, I guess when leads are coming in every month, then sure, like just keep the subscription on. It doesn't matter. But in the current economy where like you kind of have to watch it for your spending,
Hmm.
right? As a business owner trying to attract leads and maybe you're just getting started out. You don't know next month you gonna get client, right? That pays for the bill. I think it's
Right.
a good idea to consolidate a lot of tools,
Hmm.
pay as little as you can, but without like having to hack around different systems.
Yeah.
Um,
I think this is another good, the topic to touch on later, like what is worth spending money on, like in your business. Like there are definitely things that are worth money, like for example invoicing, like how you take payments. That is something that is definitely, you need a good system for that. You definitely don't want to hack that. You
yeah.
use some crappy whatever is out there that's the cheapest, but the payments don't go through like half the time or whatever. So
Yeah, that'll be a good one. If people watching the video, if they can
yeah.
comment on the things that they're maybe interested in hearing, like maybe worst tools or best tools worth paying or not worth paying, and don't forget to also like and subscribe with the video. But yeah, what's your I guess overall like conclusion with the Google Workspace?
I think it's been a great way to get the business off the ground, have everything I need that's necessary without having to worry about, wait, can I make this for a lead or client or for my business without worrying I have to pay for it, because it's already included. It's not an additional cost. So definitely use it. I'm not even sponsored to say this. It's just been really amazing for me. And yeah, I recommend it. If you need to just start your business, like don't let not knowing how to do the onboarding, account management, like doing all that stop you from starting. Google Workspace can help you out a lot. So
Yeah.
hopefully this helps.
And Leah will probably share more tips in the future, but make sure to voice that in the comments that you want to hear more about all the tools she used. So I guess we'll see everyone next time.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.